Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about all the things you should be farming this week in Onslaught. We have a limited time because of downtime and maintenance and downtime before final shape, so you want to be hitting Onslaught really hard. There's double rewards, double shiny rewards, and the shiny weapons give you 2 sets of perks, and all of these perks are going to be upgradable and enhanceable in the final shape. So a lot of these weapons are going to be relevant and things that you should be looking to get. So we're going to go through all the weapons for PvE, and then we're going to go through them again for PvP. And I'm very excited by this because I actually have a lot of these weapons already. We're going to first look at the Midnight Coup. So you want some Fluted Barrel on there, obviously, for the stability and handling. And Fluted Barrel is probably one of the best barrels anyway for most guns. I go with Appended Mag for extra bullets in a magazine, but this really is just how you want to play. Then we have Firefly and One for All. So Firefly does damage, obviously blows out and hits a load of people. And if you hit 3 separate targets, you'll get increased damage on this weapon. Also for PvE as well, we have Explosive Payload, and also Frenzy is really good. The longer you're in combat, the more damage and everything improves on the gun. But also, just Rampage is pretty good too. Rampage is always going to be a good trait to have, especially if you are, clearing up some ads. So for me, Firefly, One for All is the best one to have. Firefly Rampage is pretty good. Firefly, I don't really like Frenzy, but it is a good perk. And an Explosive Payload can even go with Rampage 2 and One for All if you wanted to as well. So Midnight Coup, definitely a good weapon to get, a good hand cannon for your primary slot. There's also Handling Masterwork, or you could go with anything you like here, that's completely up to you. And mods, most of the time for me, it's either going to be boss spec or major spec, so I just go with major spec on this because you're going to be doing a lot of damage to a lot of things and a lot of majors. Next up we have the Luna's Howl. Fluted Barrel. Flared Mag Roll's pretty good, but again, anything in this column, just totally up to you and how you want to play. Heal Clip, obviously, to heal yourself after you kill things. And Incandescent on this weapon is absolutely ridiculous. I got a Luna's Howl with Encore and Incandescent. The very first week Luna's Howl come out, I already have 10,000 kills with it. It's replaced my Sunshot. It's just an unbelievable weapon, just solely because of the Incandescent and how hard it hits. Heal Clip is obviously the better perk to have here because you can heal yourself every time you reload too. And everything else here, just not particularly great for PvE. So if you're going for this weapon, at least make sure you have Incandescent. Reload speed is needed on this gun because it's really slow, but if you can't get that, then anything else that works for you. But reload speed is definitely needed because it's a slow reload. If you want to improve that reload and you can't get Heal Clip, Enlightened Action also really does improve the reload speed. But all in all, you just want Incandescent with whatever perk you want here. For me, Heal Clip, Enlightened Action, and Incandescent. Next up we have the Recluse, and I actually got this roll last night. I didn't get the right attachments here that I wanted, but Small Bore to increase the range and stability. Flared Mag Roll for reload speed and stability again, but again in this you can have whatever you want. Repulsor Brace and Destabilizing Rounds. Now Repulsor Brace, defeating a void debuffed target grants an overshield. So if you use this on a void build and you're weakening enemies, debuffing them, and then you're killing them with this weapon, you are going to get overshield to protect yourself. And then Destabilizing Rounds, final blows cause nearby targets to become volatile. So basically you're just infecting everyone with some sort of debuff, killing them all, and just constantly having an overshield. This is absolutely phenomenal. Stability Masterwork or reload if you really want to, but you don't really need it on the Recluse. This is incredible in my opinion. This is the one you want to be going for. Alongside Repulsor Brace, if you get surrounded, that's not terrible. If you get Frenzy, that's not terrible either. And there's also an argument for Surrounded and Threat Detect that if you're not lucky with too many perks. But if you get some gold weapons in Recluse and you get all these perks mixed up, you might be onto something. So for me though, Destabilizing Rounds and Repulsor Brace is what you want to be looking for. So Elsie's rifle is not really a weapon that I care about, but I am going to get a roll because why not? And for me, Fluted Barrel, Light Mag, so you get reload speed and range, Rewind Rounds, which I absolutely love, and Frenzy. So you will be able to just absolutely drill enemies. In being in combat for an extended time increases damage and stuff. And if you're doing rewind rounds and hitting a big boss for a lot of damage and you're not having to reload, you are just constantly firing, constantly shooting, improving your damage and handling a reload. So for me, that is just what you should be getting. I haven't tried it yet, so don't quote me, but that's is what it is. There's also Repulsor Brace because it is a void weapon. That's also fine. And then again, if you're using Repulsor Brace, we have the Destabilizing Rounds. That's a great one to have. And also Desperate Measures is pretty good too for a PvE roll. But for me, rewind rounds, Frenzy is going to be your go-to weapon. Right, so for the Blast Furnace, which is honestly my favorite primary weapon for this role, Fluted Barrel, Appended Mag, again up to you, but Kinetic Tremors and Firefly, unreal. You're killing a whole bunch of enemies. Big enemies do obviously have more health, which is going to set off Kinetic Tremors. Once you get this going, your next burst will set it off again, so you can constantly keep setting off Kinetic Tremors. And if you're hitting headshots too and you're killing little enemies, Firefly is going to wipe them all out. That's my favorite role. There's also One for All, again, because you're doing more damage to loads of people. And also as well, we have stuff like Rampage if you want, Desperate Measures if you want. But for me, these two are the best perk. We have Shoot to Loot, you know, if you want to. It's not really my kind of favorite perk, but it obviously works with a ranged weapon like this for you to get all the things you need to reload and all that jazz. But for me, definitely Firefly, Kinetic Tremors with a Handling Masterwork or Reload if you want to. So the succession, I'm not really a sniper guy. Don't really care too much for sniper, especially in PvE. So Fluted Barrel is great. Extended Mag, so you get that extra shot with airborne effectiveness if you like to jump and like maybe you're on a Warlock and you can heat rise. Anything here, completely up to you. But Reconstruction is obviously really good on a sniper because it will slowly reload itself and go up to double capacity. That's all you want. You want extra ammo to fire from a sniper. And a Recombination, Elemental Final Blows increase the damage of the weapon's next shot, so you do more damage per shot. I don't know what else really to have here. Maybe Firing Line. Which one is it now? This one. The weapon deals increased precision damage when near 2 or more allies. So if you're standing in a well around your teammates, you could probably get a few extra bits of damage in there. But I'm not particularly great with snipers, so for me, this is just looking at it, this is what I would choose. But feel free to check up on anyone else's role because they probably know snipers better than I do. Okay, Hung Jury. Now, before Blast Furnace come out, this was my main primary. Fluted Barrel, obviously. Tactical Mag is good. You get more reload speed, better stability, and an extra bullet in the magazine. But again, anything here is up to you. Kinetic Tremors and Explosive Payload together is utterly phenomenal. This is one of my favorite guns in the game. And if Blast Furnace hadn't come out, and obviously I need Blast Furnace for champions, and probably next season, this is what I'll be using for my primary because it is unbelievable. There's also as well Firefly. Again, Kinetic Tremors Firefly. One for All is also another good stat. But all in all, for me, Kinetic Tremors, Explosive Payload, utterly ridiculous with a reload speed because the Hung Jury can really benefit from reloading fast. So this is what I would choose. Right, on to the Forbearance. So anything like this type of grenade launcher, quick launch is probably the best. More velocity, more handling. High velocity rounds, more velocity, more reload speed. Demolitionist is incredible. Kills with this weapon generate grenades energy, so you'll be getting all your grenades back. Chain Reaction is also really good, except I think it's getting a nerf. So if you wanted to swap that up, you can go for One for All. So hitting 3 separate targets increases damage for the next shot. And also as well, Ambitious Assassin is pretty good on this too. But for me, until Chain Reaction gets nerfed, or maybe they change how it works, this would be the role that I get. But I probably am going to get one as well that has One for All, me personally. Wellspring, also pretty good because you're generating ability energy. So just totally up to you what you want to do here. Forbearance, I don't use it too much. I'm going to start using it. But for me, looking at what it is, Chain Reaction is the best perk. However, I do think it's getting nerfed and changed. So make sure you get the ones that you want. Maybe get Chain Reaction on the second perk and then one of the other perks that we've spoken about on the first perk. Mountaintop, not a weapon that I use even though it's incredible. I just don't like using special ammo. For me, I just don't like it. Except for the new sidearm, which is incredible. But I am going to start using this because I got very lucky and I got this exact roll. Quick launch, obviously. Spike grenades, definitely best thing for a grenade launcher of this type. Auto-loading holster, so you get your ammo back. And then Recombination. Elemental Final Blows increase the damage of this weapon's next shot. This is an incredible setup for damage. But for me, like I said, not that great. Not that great at using these types of grenade launchers. So also as well, on top of that, Demolitionist is pretty good too, and Frenzy is also okay, I guess. But for me, this is the role, and I can't wait to use it. There's also Lead from Gold. If you don't want to have auto-loading holster, Lead from Gold is pretty good because every time you pick up heavy, and if you got Heavy Finder on your helmet, you're going to be getting ammo for this weapon too. So if you can get Lead from Gold and auto-loading holster with Recombination and anything else you want on here. Vorpal weapons, not terrible either. You're going to be in the money with this gun. Velocity Masterwork, because you want those bullets to hit quicker. So for the Hammerhead, Arrowhead Break, pretty goddamn good on an LMG. Appended mag to get more magazine size if you really want to. I don't think it's necessary, especially if you're going to use something like rewind rounds, which we'll talk about in a second. But Rampage and Killing Tally is what you want to do for add clear up. So you'll be able to just dominate through all enemies and just absolutely just destroy them. So if you want to add clearing Hammerhead, this is the role for you. Make sure you get handling or reload speed if you wish to. But for me, and my perfect role is rewind rounds and target lock. So if I'm not using my Dragon's Breath and I want to use something like Outbreak Perfected or any other kind of exotic, I go with my Hammerhead with rewind rounds and target lock. So target lock damages increases the longer the weapon remains on a target, and rewind rounds is basically the more bullets you hit before a reload, it will just refill your magazine. I have fired 315 bullets without ever having to reload. It's not the most damaging thing in the world, but if I don't have something like Dragon's Breath or something that has instant damage like a bait and switch edge transit, this for me is just utterly incredible. So any of those two roles, pretty goddamn good on the Hammerhead. And speaking of edge transit, if I was to pick any weapon this week to get, this would be the one to get. We've got a quick launch, obviously, spike grenades, obviously, envious assassin, and bait and switch. So doing damage with all of your weapons before swapping to this activates bait and switch, and you'll get 30% increased damage for 10 seconds. Envious Assassin, defeating targets with other weapons before drawing this one, transfers ammo to the magazine from reserves. So if you're doing damage with your other two weapons, killing a load of enemies, and you've already done the damage, as soon as you swap to bait and switch, your magazine will be overflowed, it will fire and do more damage. This is the role you want. I also heard that Cascade Point is pretty good. So if you can get Envious Assassin and Cascade Point with bait and switch, and maybe something like Explosive Light, pretty good role to get on all 4 perks. So for me, this is the role. This is the damaging role that you want for big boss DPS end game stuff. So if you're looking to join in with end game stuff, you need this role. And Falling Guillotine, which is the biggest drop off of a weapon ever, and I'm very sad about it. We'll just get through it. Jagged Edge, Swordmaster's Guard, Relentless Strikes, Whirlwind. You can also have Vorpal Weapon or Eager Edge if you want an Eager Edge sword. But for me, this is the role that I want. Probably not even going to farm for it, to be honest, because Falling Guillotine sucks now. But if you do want it, this is a great one. Eager Edge, like I said. And also Vorpal Weapon if you just want to do, Vorpal Whirlwind, even though, it's not as good as Relentless Strikes and Whirlwind Blade. I'm very sad about the Falling Guillotine, as you can imagine in my voice. Let's talk about PvP roles. Right, so for Midnight Coup, which I think is a pretty good, decent PvP weapon, we want to go with Small Ball for range and stability, Accurized Rounds for range Masterwork down here, and Explosive Payload so that you shake off people's aim and make them flinch. Opening Shot is pretty good, or Zen Moment to keep that kind of shot on target. If you don't get Explosive Payload, Moving Target is a really good role too. So if you can get these 2 perks alongside Opening Shot and Zen Moment on a gold weapon, you're going to be pretty set for PvP if you like this hand cannon range masterwork, obviously. Now I know there's some arguments over about what the best Luna's Howl role is. I like this weapon, I don't love it in PvP, but I would have Hammerforge Rifling for range with ricochet rounds for that range and stability. Eye of the Storm, just the more accurate as your health gets lower, so you're not getting too crazy as you're getting shot. And then Precision Instrument. Now Precision Instrument is basically, I think when I was playing with it, it goes up to like after 3 precision shots, it's like a 90 hit. So if you're dragging it onto another enemy and you still got Precision Instrument, you're going to be doing a lot of damage off the bat. There's also obviously Heal Clip and Magnificent Howl. So after you get a kill, you reload to get your health back and also get, big damage. I don't like this role, some people do. It works, it's just not for me at all because I don't like, trying to get them both to proc together. It's quite difficult unless you're just a monster when it comes to stuff like that. Eye of the Storm, also really good if you wanted to, and Slide Shot, if you're a slidey boy, that's completely up to you as well. But if I was to pick one, it would be Eye of the Storm and Precision Instrument. So you've got all that, well, not protection, but as your health gets lower, you're not going to miss your shots, and then Precision Instrument works with that because you're hoping to hit those shots. So for me, that's the role. So Recluse, not a weapon I like to use in PvP. Hammer forge rifling and ricochet rounds, you know, for the extra range and stability. Dynamic sway reduction is pretty much needed on this weapon because you need to keep it stable. Master of Arms for damage improving perks, you know, so you get more damage the more people you kill. But if you don't like that type of build, tap the trigger will keep that weapon really stable, and range masterwork just gives you a little bit of extra range, obviously. So if I was to get one, it would be this or Master of Arms. I'm sure there's some other great rolls there, maybe Desperate Measures or something, but for me, this is the roll to get. So Elsie's rifle for me is what I'm going to try to get for a PvP roll. Arrowhead break, you know, to help with that recoil direction and the handling. Ricochet rounds for that range and stability. Keep away and head seeker. I think these are phenomenal. So it increases your reload range and accuracy when you're really far away from enemies, which hopefully you are with a pulse rifle. And then head seeker for that increased precision damage. I'd also say Zen Moment is pretty good for this first perk. And if you really want to, Desperado, even though it's got a nerf and it's not as good, Desperado works and Kill Clip also works. But head seeker for me in that second slot is the best perk to have. If I was to choose a roll, it would be this one. Range masterwork, obviously, to get extra range. So for Blast Furnace, again, Arrowhead break, accurized rounds for that extra range. Zen Moment to keep it stable, and Rapid Hit to improve that stability and reload speed as you're hitting. If you are accurate with this weapon, this absolutely tears you apart. I have been absolutely mauled by this in Crucible, and I want it so badly because I don't have it. If you want to, also Perpetual Motion works well in this first one. And Kill Clip is obviously always a good damage increasing perk, and Rampage, you know, if you just want damage on top of damage. But for me, the completely stable build, utterly phenomenal. You need to be able to get this. Succession Sniper, not too different from most snipers. You want that fluted barrel, you want the accurized rounds for range and stability and handling. Moving target, so you can, you know, have better target acquisition on a moving target, and snapshot sights to aim down sight faster. Handling masterwork, I don't really know much about snipers, but for me, this is the role you want. You know, there might be some other perks you can throw in there, which I'm sure you will know as a sniping player, but for me, this is what I'm going for. Maybe no distractions is pretty good too, but this is the role. Go for it. Hung Jury, something that I haven't ever used in Crucible, to be honest. Fluted barrel, steady rounds, so you get that stability, airborne effectiveness. You lose a bit of range, but most Crucible encounters, you're not that far away from an enemy where the -5 range is really going to hurt, unless you're just playing absolutely, you know, demon Crucible stuff and you want to min-max everything. But for me, these two perks here work great. Rapid Hit, always good on a long-range weapon because more precision hits you get, you know, temporarily increase stability and reload speed. For me, box breathing, I think, is pretty goddamn decent here. Aiming this weapon for a short period without firing grants bonus range. So that range that you're losing with steady rounds, you can make up from here if you're just sitting camping, aiming down a pathway to kill people. And also as well in this second area here, you know, explosive payload is not terrible, but cascade point, maybe? Final blows or sustained precision hits with another weapon increases the rate of fire for this. So let's just say you got a hand cannon on. You know, you're killing a few people with a hand cannon, getting some precision shots. You swap to this and just drill bullets into the next enemy you see. That could also work. But for me, I'm a slow player. I'm a range player. So Rapid Hit and box breathing would be great for me. And I'm definitely going to be looking to get this weapon. So next up, we have Forbearance, something I don't use in PvP. I don't use special ammo that much. But you do want anything that makes the bullets faster. So Velocity Masterwork or, you know, Handling Masterwork if you wish. Quick Launch to get that velocity and handling as well. Obviously, high velocity rounds to get that velocity and reload speed. Disruption break, breaking in enemy shields with this weapon makes them more vulnerable to kinetic damage for a brief period of time. So if you hit an enemy with this and it breaks their shield, you can swap to a hand cannon and just finish them off. Golden Tricorn, final blows with this weapon grant bonus damage. And then, you know, I just feel like that's a good all-round perk. I just don't think there's much to use on this. Maybe surplus, you know, because obviously your abilities will be charged. But like I said, I'm not a special weapon expert. I'm definitely not a forbearance expert either. But this is the role that I think is one of the best roles you can get for PvP. So the same here with the Mountaintop. You want things that make it faster. So Volatile Launch, high velocity rounds, Impulse Amplifier, which obviously moves that a lot quicker. And then something like Harmony is good. Vorpal Weapon is pretty good too, because you're doing damage to Guardians with their super actives. You know, you can hurt people who are running at you. And Harmony, final blows with other weapons improve this weapon's damage. So again, bang, bang, bang with a hand cannon, swap to this, do more damage. I feel like that's the best roll you can probably get for PvP. Let me know what you think down below. Do you think there's any other rolls for these grenade launchers that are pretty good? So the Hammerhead. I love Hammerhead in PvP. I don't think it matters what roll you have, because you're only going to get the power ammo every now and again, and you just it does so much damage that it's just great anyway. Arrowhead Break, improve that recoil direction and handling. Ricochet rounds for range and stability. Rampage, so if you do kill someone, the next person is going to take a lot more damage, and then the person after that also if you're really lucky. And tap the trigger just to hold that accuracy. I don't think there's any much needed to be said about that. I think that's just a good roll to have for PvP. Edge Transit, again, like all the other grenade launchers, you want bullets that move fast. So volatile launch, high velocity rounds, impulse amplifier again. And then maybe something like explosive light to increase the damage when you pick up an orb of power. I don't particularly use Edge Transit in any kind of capacity right now, but explosive light just seems like the better perk to have when it comes to PvP. Hopefully you just get some orbs of light before you start firing. Velocity masterwork as well on all these grenade launchers too. And then last but not least, the letdown of the pack, the Falling Guillotine, Hungry Edge, few extra ammo capacity, Swordmaster's Guard, Vorpal Weapon, so you can damage in their super, you know, probably the better perk over here. And then Eager Edge. I'm not an Eager Edge user, like, I just don't like it. I never get it to work properly. But if you want to get around the map quick, this is a good way to do that when you have your heavy ammo. And that's about it. Make sure you are farming Onslaught right now, because you get a whole bunch of tokens, a whole bunch of weapons, and even better chance at golden weapons. And getting any combinations of the perks we just spoke about, it's going to be very good because you can improve them in the final shape. So yeah, let me know what you think down below. Give me any other rolls that I might have missed out on, because I'm looking to get as many weapons as possible. Thank you for watching. I've been easynow. You guys have been awesome.